Inclusion by Gillian Negley. According to Oxford Dictionary, inclusion is the practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized, such as those who have mental or physical disabilities and members of other minority groups. So in terms of education, inclusion means that students who have disabilities and/or are members of a minority group are learning side by side with students who do not have disabilities and are not members of a minority group. So let's talk about the history of inclusion in terms of students with disabilities. So first, students with disabilities were placed in institutions and were not allowed in public schools at all. Then, in 1975, children with disabilities were now able to attend public schools but remained separate from others. This means that they were in the building but stayed in a separate room from other students. Then, we moved to integration, which means that students with disabilities are being brought into the general education classroom but still have their own area in the classroom working with a para or an aide. Finally, we moved to inclusion, which means that students with disabilities are included in the classroom. They sit by their fellow peers and are learning the same curriculum with necessary accommodations and modifications. So many people question inclusion, but think about this. What do you think was the best part of school when you were growing up? When I first thought about this question, the things that came to my mind included specials, recess, lunch, and friends. Then I realized that my favorite times of school were all major social interaction times of the day. Socializing and making friends is one of the best parts of school for almost everyone, and every single child deserves to have that opportunity. Inclusion allows students to learn how to act in social situations and how to make friends, which causes a significant increase in academic success. Students with disabilities and students who are part of a minority, without a doubt, benefit from inclusion. But students who don't fit into those terms are benefiting as well. These students learn about and embody acceptance and kindness. We are teaching our students that it doesn't matter what we look like or how we learn, but what does matter is that we have kindness in our hearts for others. We are all different, and that is a beautiful thing. As a future special education teacher, I want to advocate for inclusion as much as I can. To do this, there are many responsibilities that I need to fulfill. One is that I want to help general education teachers understand inclusion and why it's important. I also want to help education teachers create UDL or Universal Design for Learning lessons from the start so students of all abilities can participate. Next, I want to create inclusive programs like Unified Specials, Abilities Awareness, and more. I also want to decorate my room with representation of all my students so they feel seen and heard. And last, I want to be a safe and welcoming resource for teachers and other school personnel. Inclusive classrooms support the abilities and recognize the possibilities of all students. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a little bit more about inclusion.